Hi. I was going to do my normal intro, but just doesn't feel right for this. This is going to be a rant. If you don't want to listen to me yell about something I have a very large problem about, just skip it. You won't hurt my feelings. I feel something needs to be said because the narrative I'm seeing is bad, is remarkably bad. And I know if 100 people see this, that'll be really impressive for one of my videos. But I just have to say something for my own mental health. So what I'm talking about is there was an incident recently involving Brian W. Foster. If you don't know who that is, he's the host of Talks Machina. He's a friend of the Critical Role cast. He's dating Ashley Johnson, and overall, he's just an amazing person. He's done his life itself is an amazing story of going through horrible things and finding a way to come out on top. And he's a very inspiring person to me personally. However, a few days ago, he made a post on Twitter saying he was going to take a break, which is very common now because Twitter is a cesspool of anger and verbal assault. And in it, he mentioned he wasn't going to talk about politics anymore, or at least for a time, which is another thing that's very healthy. Talking about politics for a very long time, talking about politics was a really great way to start an argument, and in extreme cases, it might lead to the souring of a friendship, or sometimes just to an ending of a friendship due to people saying things just to hurt the other person. Nowadays, talking politics can get you hurt. Like, it's crazy how many stories pop up, not even just in the U.S., it's happening in the UK, France. I mean, your political affiliation can get you beaten. So avoiding talking about stuff like that, not a bad idea. That's not why I'm making this video. The thing that pisses me off, and should piss everyone off, is a very vocal group started not just arguing or anything like that, harassing Brian because of this stance where he's not going to talk about politics. I believe he said something to the effect that I don't really feel I belong to either side, which I can understand that as well, because I feel that a lot as well. There are things that the right do that I find I hate to use this word, but it fits, deplorable. And there are things that the left do that I find equally deplorable. I personally see one side doing a lot more bad stuff than the other, but that's my viewpoint and what I personally am seeing. So none of that really matters. It's a true statement. There are a lot of people that don't identify as left or right anymore, simply because you can't take all of the ideologies of either side as a lump sum anymore. There's too many extreme things on both sides. So anyway, so he had all of these people screaming at him, calling him a bigot, homophobic, racist. I think there might have been some white supremacist stuff. I didn't actually see any of this. I'm going off of multiple reports from other people that did. The reason I didn't is Brian has deleted basically almost all of his Twitter. Removed everything but a single post saying there's some poetry, and then that's all for now. And yeah, Talks Machina was canceled tonight, which again is the show he hosts. This is a big deal, and the thing that pisses me off most is not that there are bad people on Twitter that did a bad thing. That's most of the tweets on Twitter fall into that category. Not most of the people, because I don't think it's a majority yet, but it's something like 40% of the tweets, or maybe even more than that, come from a very small group of individuals compared to the overall Twitter base. So there is a small minority on Twitter that makes most of Twitter. And those people in general are very hateful and very much looking to hurt people. So no, that doesn't surprise me. It doesn't even surprise me that it was people that call themselves critters. Which, if you don't know, that's what the fan base of Critical Role calls themselves. We are critters. And when it first started, it was built on this idea of, loving each other, supporting each other, things like that. It's grown to be massive. And now there is again, it's a small minority, but they're very, very vocal of toxic critters that are very literally poisoning the well. They are poisoning the discussion and just poisoning the fandom. And when I say literally, I do mean this poison, because it is infecting other people. It's making them feel bad. It acts very much like a physical poison, except this is more societal, mental, I guess you could call it. But I think the term poison fits very well. Again, very small group, very vocal group, very damaging group. So that doesn't even surprise me. It's been that way for at least a year now. What surprised me is there is a post that is making its rounds on Twitter of a person trying to explain this situation. I'm a very big fan of this. Too often what happens in these situations is people read a small excerpt, or they read what somebody else wrote, and I get the irony about that. I'll get back to that. And then they go on a tirade and don't even know the whole story, and end up attacking people simply because they themselves misunderstood this situation, and are attacking people for things they never did. So I'm all for explaining it. And she explains what I would assume is Brian's side. Again, since Brian isn't speaking about this, it's not really his side. It's what she sees as his side, and it made sense to me. And then she talked about the other side, and that's where I have the biggest problem, because she explained it very well. The idea is there are people that are very upset with him simply because he can step away from politics, and they feel they can't because they're part of one of many marginalized groups that currently feel that their very lives are in danger because of things happening in politics. Now, I'm not going to get into a debate about whether or not their lives really are in danger, because it doesn't actually matter. If that's what they feel, if that is a truly held belief, then to them it's true, and all of their actions are going to be based on that idea. So it doesn't matter if it's true or not. That is their reality. And you as someone who has to deal with dissociation, where my reality doesn't actually fit with the real physical world all the time, I understand the idea that if while I'm dissociating, someone tries to tell me just how nuts my view of reality is, it doesn't do anything except reinforce my belief of this weird fractured reality. You cannot try to attack someone's viewpoints and their personal truth as a way to help them. It's not how it works. You have to understand their truth, what they are living in the world they believe they're experiencing, and try to help them from there. And if the world they're living in is the real world 100%, which, let's be honest, most of us don't have beliefs that are not founded in fact. So no one is 100% living in truth. But if you really want to help someone, you have to start in their world and help them survive it before they can get past things that may or may not be real. So, going back to what I was saying before, I don't have any problem with the idea that she was explaining their side, and this idea that they feel that they're going to die if they're not actively engaged in politics, and being angry at him that he can just step away because he won't die. His life is not in danger. His way of life is not in danger by just stepping back. I understand that mentality because I feel that all the time. As someone with a multiple severe mental disorders, I'm terrified for my life on a regular basis, and some of it is catastrophized by my disorders, and some of it is me thinking the worst and things like that. A lot of it is based in truth and statistics. And when I see other people doing things like using the word triggered to mean that they were upset by something, when in actuality the word triggered is a psychological term that's meant to be something to describe, or triggers are meant to describe things that people with panic disorder or anxiety disorders or PTSD, there's certain events or objects or even smells sometimes that can trigger a flashback or a panic attack. They're not feeling uncomfortable. They are things that can seriously hurt people. So I hate when people use trigger, or when they use, oh, my OCD made me pick up all this. No, you don't have OCD. Oh, man, I've got PTSD from that boss fight. No, you don't. I have PTSD. Trust me, you don't have it. So I get very angry when I see people do that in a very similar way. It's not 100%, but it is causing people to die. People with mental disorders are significantly more likely to commit suicide, significantly more likely to be killed by police than literally anyone else, any other demographic. So it is costing people their lives. So again, I understand that mentality, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not trying to tell these people they're wrong for feeling that way or thinking that way. That's okay. You're allowed to feel that way. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be upset. You're allowed to be sad. However, when your beliefs are being used to harass and hurt another person simply because they're not willing to hurt themselves to help you, that's not okay. And that's what this thread said. But by the way, I'm not going to link the thread. I'm not going to use the person's name, because first of all, I actually don't want the thread being spread, because it spreads a very bad message, in my opinion. Second of all, I don't want them getting attacked. So, yeah. But, so going back to that, she explains their side, and then she explains it's completely acceptable for people to lash out and attack other people for not speaking up and hurting themselves in order to help their specific cause. That's not okay. There's no world where that's okay. I don't care how bad you have it, and I don't care how much worse it's going to get for you. It is never okay to attack someone simply because they're not willing to hurt themselves to help you. I've seen this over and over, not just with Brian, though that's the most recent one. I've seen this with, years ago, the Child's Play charity, which is a charity that buys toys and video games for children in ICU and cancer wards and things like that, so that their entire life is not just medical tests, needles, and doctors trying to assure them that the pain will eventually stop. Do you know how horrible an existence that is? So Child's Play raises money and buys things so they can send it to children's hospitals so that the kids can have some fun. Years ago, there was a movement, I guess, where there was a bunch of people attacking Child's Play. Now, I don't think it got very far, because at that point, the rest of the world hadn't gone bonkers. But there was a small vocal minority going, I can't believe you guys are wasting money like that. You could be using all that money to find a cure for all these horrible diseases instead of just buying toys. And it blew my mind. And they attacked Child's Play. They attacked a charity buying toys for children because they decided that what that group was doing to help make the world a little better was not right. despite the fact that for all the money Child's Play's raised, I sincerely doubt we'd have cured cancer if they'd never bought a toy, or AIDS, or any other horrible disease. It's not how it works. Should we be funding research? Of course. But simply throwing money at something doesn't change anything. And I'm not saying don't donate to that stuff, because, again, they need funding to research and stuff like that. However, it's just as valid making it so these kids don't live in a nightmare for months at a time as it is to support the people trying to end that nightmare so no one else has to. And that's what you see this constantly. You've seen celebrities getting attacked because they donated to the wrong group. Well, you're doing this, but this group helps this group of people, and they need your money more. You horrible, disgusting. No. And that's all this is. This is another group of self-righteous, arrogant assholes that have decided that their particular cause is the most important one in the world, and if you don't agree with them, not only are you a bad person, you are the worst scum on the planet and deserve to be abused and punished for it. Guess what? That's not how the world works. And the only thing these people are doing is making whatever group they claim allegiance to look like assholes. If your only way to get allies is to harass and abuse people until they give in to supporting you, those aren't allies, they're prisoners of war. If someone makes the decision that they can't be an ally because the price they have to pay to do it is too much at that particular point in their life, that's perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with that. I don't care how bad anybody has it. It's not okay to attack people simply because they aren't conforming to your belief structure. Anyways, so that's what this is all about. The TLDR is people decided that Brian not talking about politics was him actively helping to kill them, which isn't true, which has never been true. It is a logical fallacy. It's called the false dichotomy fallacy. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But it's wrong, and all these people saying that, they were attacking him because what he's doing is wrong or is evil. No, it's not. He's helping himself. He's taking care of himself. Because if he gets killed over this, which happens, suicide right now is at the highest it's been in, 16 years? And the group that has the highest suicide rate is men, by a factor of like 3 or 5. Like, it's massive. So the idea that, well, it doesn't hurt, yes, it does. It's very taxing to deal with this stuff, because you always have people attacking you. If you can step away, do it. If you can, for whatever reason, you feel that if you step away, your life is in danger, I feel for you, I really do. But this isn't the way you make change. This is the way you ensure that things are going to get worse for you. And for people And that's what this thread that I keep referencing, that's what they did. They said this is perfectly understandable and completely okay for these people to attack him because they feel that their lives are in danger. No, not at all. That's not okay. There's no realm of thought anywhere where that is an okay thing to do. You want to get allies, you want to get people to support you. Understand them when other people are in pain, even if it's not the same pain you're feeling, even if you feel your pain is significantly more difficult to deal with and more damaging. Guess what? It doesn't matter. You don't attack people for dealing with their own pain. This is not the pain Olympics. We're not trying to figure out whose pain is the worst pain. All pain is pain. All of it hurts. All of it causes lasting damage. All of it can eventually kill you. No pain is more important than another pain. And if your thought process is, well, my pain is the worst pain, and so everyone else has to ignore their pain and focus on my pain, you are part of the problem. You want to get allies? Be an ally. You see someone else in pain? Try to help. And that does not mean give them unsolicited advice. It doesn't mean show up on their doorstep with flowers and candy. It means find a way to help them. And the best way you can do that is ask. Can I help you? And how? That's how you make allies, because when they can deal with their pain, they'll go, that person, that group, that idea, they came and helped me when I needed it. I'm going to help them now because I can. Killing yourself for someone else's ideals is not brave, doesn't make you a martyr, it makes you ineffective. Once you're gone, you can't help anyone. So killing yourself trying to help other people when you could live an extra 20, 30, 40, 50 years if you just take a few months to help yourself is stupid. And I know this because I did that for 15 years. One of the things I'm going through therapy about is I would help people even though it almost killed me. Story time, there was a girl I knew that I had a massive crush on and then actually fell in love with, that was dating a not just an abusive boyfriend. This was a guy that got off on hurting people. Physically, emotionally, he was sick. And so I got this idea that I was going to go over to her house because she had roommates that still liked me. And they were going to invite me over. And I knew this guy. Like, I was in his head. I knew I didn't actually have to incite him or incentivize him to attack me. All I had to do was be there. So what I was going to do was I was going to be there. He was going to pick a fight with me. I was going to let him beat me until the cops got there. I wasn't going to stop. I wasn't going to defend myself. I was just going to let this horrible person who enjoyed and got pleasure out of inflicting pain on people, I was going to let him just beat me, possibly to death. I hadn't quite figured that out yet, because this guy had been responsible for other people's lives ending. He hadn't killed them. He had abused them and gave them and manipulated them into doing very dangerous and bad things that ended with them dying. he was a horrible person. Guess what? That was a really stupid idea. I was lucky with the idea that my friends who were going to invite me over got cold feet and called it off. I think I can't actually remember 100%. But we never did it. And my face isn't scarred. I don't have a broken nose or anything like that, which probably would have happened if I let this guy beat on me. Do you know how stupid that was? And in my mind, I was this incredibly noble person. I was making the ultimate sacrifice for this girl. This girl who didn't speak to me for, I think it was in 9 months or a year or something like that after this, eventually got out of the relationship without too much damage, and is now has 2 kids with a third coming along, and is madly in love with the guy she's dating. Me killing myself wouldn't have helped her. It would have done nothing except make my life significantly worse, and it possibly could have made her life worse too. That's again going back, this idea that, you know, even if you have pain, you have to hurt yourself and put yourself out to get hurt or to die for other people. It's not romantic. It's not honorable or noble. It's stupid. Now, am I saying self-sacrifice is wrong? No. I'm part of a religion that is built on the idea that our Creator sent His Son to sacrifice Himself for us. Self-sacrifice is a great thing. However, actively seeking out a way to sacrifice yourself is stupid. And if you can help more people by being alive, if you can help any people by being alive, or you can help one group of people by hurting yourself to the point of death, stick with being alive. It's better that you're part of this world and helping to change it as long as you can than it is for you to suffer immense pain and help, even if it does help, because there's no guarantee it will, and help one group of people at one point in time. It's not worth it. Anyway, I've rambled enough, but I'm really upset about this. It's not okay. And that's the thing that upsets me the most, is the idea of this person on Twitter that this is somehow justifiable because of the pain they're in. No, it's not. Yes, it sucks that they're in immense pain, that they've been abused and discriminated against and all these horrible things. I feel for them. I empathize. I sympathize. It's not okay to abuse other people because you've been abused. It's not. It's never been okay. It should not, in any realm of thought, be something you can say, well, it's justified. They just did it the wrong way. No, there is no right way to abuse someone. There isn't. Anyway, that's all for me. I'm working on more D&D content, I swear. My mental health has been really bad, and it's looking to get worse before it gets better, because that's just how my life is. I promise I'm making more stuff, I swear. Just please stay tuned, all right? Bye-bye.